Hello students, this is your course on content marketing. In this video on measuring content marketing performance, we are going to talk about an essential metric called social shares. Now, why do we need to track social shares and what exactly does this particular metric measure for you? Social shares as a metric tracks the number of potential user generated referrals and content promotion opportunities generated for content available on your website. Which means that if a user is visiting your website, they're liking the content resource which you have provided over there, and you have also provided them an opportunity to share that content on various social media platforms or various direct information sharing platforms, and the user lands up using that option. That goes to show that the value derived by the user from your content is very high. This also shows the level of engagement which this customer has is very high, and the user is just not stopping there. They have really felt happy, they have really felt delighted with the value given by your content, and they want to share it with their network. And this activity itself gets a direct impact, or gets a direct view of how engaging and how relevant your content is. Now, this metric can only be measured if you provide the share option on your website and indicate social channels through embedded social media buttons on which visitors can share the content. For instance, a bar like this can be placed at the bottom of every value adding content resource that you provide, telling your users clearly that they can share that particular content on Facebook, and they can tweet it, they can pin it. They therefore obviously motivating them to save it for later consumption on social bookmarking site, making it possible for multiple users who are part of this particular users network to explore and find your content. You can also give the opportunity to this particular user for sharing your or content through email or through WhatsApp or Drive or similar such platforms, giving those embedded buttons. But it's a choice. Many content marketers go ahead with just the social share options, and what gets shared in the form of email or on the Drive or in closed targeted groups remains something of a dark social share, which doesn't get tracked by content marketers. And in fact, is difficult to track. What you can look and learn from a share worthy content is that it is considered as capable of generating high customer engagement, and therefore is a good way to measure the quality of content being generated. So a lot of metrics that we are studying till now, they are more uh, in terms of measuring content performance, are talking about the ability of content to draw attention, retain users, and yes, ultimately, what you are trying to understand is the content that you've generated. Is it of good quality or not? Is it relevant or not? Is it driving value, some kind of value add for the targeted customer or not? And that's the same story with this particular metric, which is social shares. It is not something that you can track specifically on the web page itself. You can generate a view of so many social shares or the social share related activity which is happening on your website as a dashboard at the back end. A few years back, this was not a problem. There were platforms like Google Plus, Facebook, and Twitter, which allowed content marketers to provide a tracker, a kind of account on their content resources on their web pages itself, motivating more users to share. So, let's say you're reading a blog, and at the bottom, you find out that the same blog has been shared on Facebook by 3,000 people. So it would tell you that it is a popular resource, definitely. And if you are also sharing it, you are supporting the author, you're supporting the brand, and you don't mind associating with a kind of content source socially, if you know that there is some kind of social proof and others have also done it. So, this used to be very helpful for content marketers to drive more such social share activity. But a few years back, this functionality was removed from the API of Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, and some of the other such social media platforms. So you can't really show it to your users, but definitely you can track it at the back end, as is indicated in the image over here. As you can see, for different social media channels, you can track how many social shares happened on different dates. And you can also track for each particular page, which page was shared on which channel, and how many shares happened, how many clicks happened, can be something that you can track, thus giving you an idea of your user behavior on the website, also giving you an indication which are the more preferred channels for your users to talk about your brand, to share about your brand, and therefore, obviously, providing you the insight that which are the channels where you can further promote your content. For example, in this case, as you can see, Facebook is the most popular channel where users are sharing the content that they're finding relevant on the website. The next best, most relevant channel is Twitter. Then there is Pinterest, and then Google Plus, and then a lot of other users are using a variety of other channels, which are clubbed together. But clearly, this indicates for a content marketer that Facebook is the place where most of their users are finding the opportunity to share this kind of content. And therefore, in turn, if such content or similar content has to be promoted in future, perhaps Facebook is the best social media platform for this particular marketer. You can measure social interactions in detail also. Social shares and related interactions can be measured in detail using Google Analytics. For about 10 different social channels, you can measure the type of action taken by user. So, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google Plus are definitely the popular ones, but there are some six other options available in Google Analytics. And you can measure not just the share as an action, but you can also measure the like, unlike, tweet, click, follow, and all such kind of activity also on your Google Analytics dashboard. The interaction which you can capture on your analytics dashboard can have three distinct fields. First of all, you can measure which social network is the preferred channel by your users for liking or sharing or following the content. Then you can also measure the type of social action. So for every network, you can measure the action that has happened. And then you can also find out the URL of the web page where social interaction occurred. The value of social target is usually a URL, but it can also be any string. And this URL is actually the web page, which is the one that is shared. So in the previous slide, as we saw, five tactics for getting more likes on Facebook. This particular URL is available. This particular resource is available at www.addthis.com/academy/get likes Facebook. So the dashboard gives you clear information that this particular URL is the one that got shared 117 times on Facebook. So as a marketer, you understand what type of content is working best, what type of content is getting shared most or getting a lot of social traction, and what are the channels that are being preferred by your users. And therefore, again, it is a very insightful KPI that can drive the content development for your future marketing campaigns. So that's about measuring social shares and using it as measurement metric for designing your future campaigns. Next up, we'll talk about subscribers. Until then, thank you.